Greetings, beloved, and happy Mother's Day 2019. I'm sending you so much love to your maternal lineage and to you. We are gathered here today because you are a conscious, badass bachelorette seeking her twin flame, and you want to have the love astrology scoop on this full moon. While I'll be sharing the full flower moon report this Wednesday, Jack and we wanted to start with this 3 things video so that you can have a little Mother's Day activation and get ready for this huge full moon ahead, actually. All right, so now I'm 19 weeks pregnant, and if it's a girl, I'm carrying eggs for my granddaughter. How cool is that? However, the Vedic astrology report did say that we'd be conceiving in January, that it would be a boy. So I'd love to know what you think. Comment below. We're so curious to know your baby predictions. Either way, happy Mother's Day, celebrating your feminine energy. Okay, so let's get to the goods. The 3 things that you need to know how to suck the juice out of this pretty intense and somewhat sinister full moon in Taurus. The first thing, unmasking suppressed energy of the inner child. What? The full blue moon is influenced by the sun with planet Sedna and the star, it's a very dark star, Algol, that is associated with evil and darkness. What? This could potentially bring up loss, negative memories, and even illness, traumatic events, or natural disasters. There's been an energy alive in our culture, in our history for so long. It's like, shh, don't talk about that. Anything uncomfortable, especially what I call the inner child. Even when it comes to healing trauma or looking at issues that are really bothering us, we can really suppress these issues. For instance, the issues of sexual abuse. And finally, we're coming out with the #MeToo movement, and yet these issues still have been underneath the surface for so long. We're not raising the issues fast enough. So this has created a split in our psychology with our family members who were abused, that they don't talk about their pain, and taught us not to talk about this or even to question the authorities that abuse them. And we have all this pain. So that's why today still only 23% of people who are raped are likely to report it. And then the rapist is likely to repeat it on another victim. That's why even though 1 in 6 men has been molested as a little boy, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to face the inner child wounds. He's got to be super dad or superhero or, the strong CEO, because we don't want to look at this on the spiritual level. But this is going to shift at this lunation. It's an opportunity to release the shame and the fear around these topics that we've suppressed. And this is so important. Why? Because if someone in your family line was abused and you were born, guess who carries the karma? Yes, you, especially the firstborn child, son or daughter, who is like a psychic sponge of all that trauma. Finally, we're getting strong enough to bust through and say no to these perpetrator energies. That's why it's time to, really call it the elephants in the room. And, there's topics I'm really focusing on right now, like the issue with C-sections, cesarean births. International healthcare communities have said that we really want to keep the C-section rate down to just between 10-15%. At my birth center, it's only at 3%. While C-sections are, important to save lives, it's really coming out of greed and money that we have 1 out of 3 mothers in the US who are getting these so-called unnecessarians. And the work needs to be done, healed within, where we heal our trauma and shame and where we're going into denial. So ask yourself, where have you been going into denial? Where have you had shame? Maybe you had the shame, as a child being naked, or maybe you had shame because something happened to you. Maybe you felt unsafe around a particular person or type of person. There's this kind of uncomfortable shutdown shame. Study this shame pattern and bring it into acceptance, into the light, and let your inner child know that she has what she needs from her mama. Okay, so the second thing you'll want to know about this full moon is it's a root chakra shedding, clearing, cleansing time, opportunity to reestablish your sense of true safety. Not only are we going to clear the past trauma and suppression from our childhood, we're going to unearth some really intense old past blocks and past lives. And I talk about this in the full report. We're going to go through the floods of Atlantis, from a higher likelihood of natural disasters coming up with Algol, this dark star that's coming up this month. We're going to flood our subconscious mind with old past life stuff. And also the Perseus constellation, which implies events caused by meteorological phenomena that affects large numbers of people, could allow us to have some real kind of disaster energy on our hands. So we need to really go into this deep healing work. According to experts such as Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson, real unavoidable scientific archaeological evidence of a colossal worldwide flood happened back 12,800 years ago, and it proves that the Great Flood erased almost all memory and physical evidence of ancient advanced civilizations. Today, we are still holding these undeniable clues, like elephants in the room, correlations and remaining physical evidence of an Atlantean civilization, including the pyramids that are perfectly aligned with the north-south poles, which means highly advanced astrology went into the building of these sites. Do you have a past life in an advanced civilization that was destroyed? Atlantis, Lemuria? Yes, you did. If you're watching this, absolutely, you're holding on to this collective past trauma from those lifetimes and experiences. Let me tell you the story of Michelle. Some of you know that I am a certified past life regression therapist. Michelle came to me because she was blocked from dating. She had been celibate for many years after she'd had a beautiful relationship with a man that ended on a really negative end. Unfortunately, she actually lost this beloved due to a motorbike crash. They got in a fight. He went out for a drive and he never came back that night. So Michelle came to me saying, I want to meet my twin flame, but I've been single for so long and I don't know why I can't, get back on the horse. So I take her into her past life, and she is remembering the cataclysm of likely Atlantis, where there is this horrible tsunami coming, and she ends up separating from her twin flame, the guy in the past life, but also the man she met in this lifetime. So I help Michelle. We clear the cataclysm by rewriting the timeline, which I suggest you do. If you have a negative experience, you can use your imagination to actually rewrite it, and it will shift your mindset, the consciousness, which creates 3D change now. So the amazing thing is, once Michelle rewrote her positive timeline where she was reunited with this beloved and things worked out for the best in that Atlantean past lifetime as if it had never happened, in this lifetime she started having all kinds of amazing opportunities in her love life, and then she eventually met a partner who had very similar energy to that original twin flame, and they've been having an incredible marriage and love life since. So though there's all of this intensity happening at this full moon, it's also an incredible time to manifest your beloved and to do the assessment work. That's why I'm offering you the free Twin Flame Signs of Reunion. It's 22 Twin Flame Signs of Reunion, a cheat sheet that you can work through this month. You can go through each of the 22 signs, see if you have them, and really assess where you're at on your twin flame journey. So I'll put the link for that below. And again, best thing is, it's totally complimentary. Okay, and the third thing is to release old entrapments. Okay, this is the time to release those old curses, the past life blocks, the religious vows, the vows of abstinence and celibacy and silence, where you might have vowed for all eternity to be a certain way, possibly separate from your twin flame. Why would we do this? Well, let me tell you about it. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you about another client of mine named Kendall, and she had this huge block with men. She was a very high power, successful lawyer who was articulate, could crush it in her career, but when it came to dating men, she had this block that would come up. She would shut down, especially when there would be an intimacy fear or something kind of edgy for her. She went from being the high power boss babe to being a 5-year-old girl, she said. So we went into her past lives, her Akashic records. I did a reading, and I was like, whoa, you have a vow of, what's the one? Silence. This a vow of silence, where she had basically given her voice to God through this Catholic lifetime. With that, she also had a vow of celibacy, where she kind of put her pussy power and was like, all right, God, I am religious. We are going to, no longer get married. We're no longer going to speak our truth. And it made so much sense. Although she was an eligible bachelorette with all these amazing gifts and skills, that she was completely blocked in love. So once we did the clearing, which was also connected to psychological blocks that she had going on that we had to undo this lifetime. Once we did the clearing in the past, which of course opens the gateway for the now, guess what happened? Yes, she manifested an incredible relationship. He moved in right away, and she actually conceived her first baby girl last year. So it's so worth doing the clearing work. I can't emphasize this enough, that this is a great time. We have a lot of freedom potential coming to us. We can clear out these old curses, these karmas that have been inundating us, blocking us, and trapping us for lifetimes. And this is the time to rise. We are post 2012. We have this freedom, and this full moon is a huge opportunity for that next up level. Here we face the theme of reclaiming the energy when we gave our power away for what was believed to be a good cause in that past life, whether it was to a guru to support what they wanted, but perhaps there was a hidden agenda. We signed away our soul. And when we thought we had to give our power away to survive to some authority, it's like staying in an abusive relationship so your husband doesn't beat you to death. So we did these things in past lives, but it can harm us. And we're these powerful beings, and yet we give our powers away to entities and organizations and beings that fed off of our pain and our power. And we still can be living in these realities in this dimension, but we're pulling that energy from the past dimensions. So do the clearing work, and you will have some massive breakthroughs in this full moon in Taurus. I'm so excited for you to get the complimentary 22 twin flame signs of reunion checklist. Again, I'll put that in the links below in the description box. And I hope to see you live on the full moon. Well, I'll be releasing a tarot card reading from Malaysia. So excited to share that with you, to give you some good juju and more twin inspiration. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you can do that now. And you can also ding the little notifications bell, because that little thing will give you updates on our weekly videos that we're here to serve you with. Thanks for joining me, tribe. I love you so much. Namaste, namasko.
3 things twin flames need to know about the May 18th full flower blue moon.